Hello, Dr. Bechtel here. Today I'm preparing a 4-part lecture series on legal timekeeping and billing practice. This is the first of the 4 parts, and it's going to cover fee structures in law firms. The objectives of this first part will explain some fee structures, obviously, from the title, describing how law firms will determine hourly rates for its timekeepers, and we'll talk about the concept of reasonable fee. It's an important concept in law. There are different types of legal fee agreements. One of that most people are familiar with is contingency fees. And these are fees collected if the attorney successfully represents the client and there's a payout, settlement, or jury decision of liability. And then it's typically a percentage of the total recovery. Examples are the lawsuits, or the personal injury, motor vehicle is probably the best possible example. There are a lot of examples, but this is one. The this is the rules regulating the Florida bar, is where you'll find Rule 4-1.5F, and it discusses or sets out the contingency fee criteria in Florida. The fee agreement must be in writing, must include a statement of client's rights, give a 3-day cooling off period for the client to cancel, and they establish a fee cap based on the state of the litigation and the amount recovered. So if you look at that, you'll see if there's never a case filed in the courts, a complaint filed in the courts, then it would be 33 1/3%. When one is filed, it goes up, I believe, to 40%. And I'm not looking at the rule in front of me right now, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And then it gets higher as the case, the state of the litigation gets more complex. Trial finally gets the highest amount. I don't know what that is without looking at the rule, but Rule 4-1.5F of the rules regulating the Florida bar. Flat or fixed fees are also something that we use in law firms, and they are intended to have some transparency, so the clients know up front, and there are no surprises. There is an efficiency for the firm, because the routine work can be streamlined, and AI has really streamlined this. Legal fees should be getting lower in some of these areas where AI is working for the lawyers and the paralegal staff. The market demand goes into consideration by the firm in determining when and why to use fixed fees, and that would be, the surveys are showing, in the state are showing, that over 70% of clients prefer fixed fees. It's predictable, simple as that. That's good for business, as long as you predict correctly. The alignment with technology, as I pointed out earlier, AI has done a great deal to speed up the routine tasks like contract drafting, etc. And so hourly billing might be less viable. They may not make it can reduce income and still have tons of specialty rents. It's an economic principle. You're using your skills and the skills of the other lawyers and staff in the firm, and they are excellent, high quality, and then you're making very little for all that experience. It's an economic principle. The kinds of legal fee agreements that are typical for flat or fixed fees are areas like estate planning, where they're drafting wills and trusts. All these tasks are very standardized. They're repeatable. You can predict how much time it takes to do this work. So estate planning is often a fixed fee. Business services. So when you're serving a business, maybe contract drafting, incorporation filings, trademark registrations. Again, you're doing a limited, you have standardized work, and you have a limited scope of expertise that you're putting onto it, not dealing so much with in drafting and making up documents for incorporations. You're not dealing so much with the unknown or things that are going to be unpredictable in a case. Family law and simple cases of family law, such as uncontested divorces, name changes, and adoption filings. These are straightforward procedures, minimal opportunity for dispute or litigation. Real estate, law firms are title searching, preparing deeds, doing lease reviews, and then so this routine paperwork and filings with defined steps. And again, there's minimal opportunity for dispute. It's easy to estimate the cost of this type of work. Immigration, such as visa applications, green card petitions, citizenship filings. These are, again, standardized forms and processes. And then criminal defense, the minor offenses, like traffic violations, misdemeanors, expungements. And these are fixed because they, again, are predictable in terms of the work to do, and the court appearances and filings are clear and set forth, and there's less opportunity for where we'd step outside of the boundaries of exactly what that looks like. Civil filings, such as small claims, routine motions, uncontested settlements. It's low, it's not complex, it has short timelines. So the amount of interruptions and work is minimized. Flat or fixed fees, when they're less common, is in the cases with uncertain outcomes or extensive negotiation. It's going to be hard to price up front what this is going to look like. So contested divorces. So fixed fees are less common in contested divorces, corporate lawsuits, intellectual property, criminal defense, such as the serious cases like felonies, repeat offenses, jury trials. Employment law and appeals are two other examples. So these are typical to, instead of being flat fee or fixed fee, it would be on an hourly fee basis. All right, so a little bit about the hourly rate fee agreements. Fees are billed to the client by the hour, so each time work is performed. The timekeeper, which we'll go into some vocabulary here in a minute, the timekeeper, the person who's done the work, is going to be writing down their time. So we also have different rates, and for all those players in the law firm, partners and shareholders of the firm, for example, they usually have higher hourly rate. Some of that will be kind of obvious when we get to the point of experience, how we establish those rates, so I won't go into that yet. And then we have associate attorneys in firms, and they are going to be billed at a lower rate. And the level of expertise in a given area of law can also affect the hourly rate of any timekeeper. And the certification and experience of, for example, the legal assistant, and lawyers can get certifications also. This can affect the hourly rate, and following locally acceptable rates. What is everybody else in the neighborhood doing? We're going to do more discussion about this as we navigate this lecture series, so I'll stop with those generalized points. More on hourly rate fee agreements include the attorney's hourly rate is shaped by factors we just discussed: experience, practice area, complexity. But I wanted to share some of the statistics. Rates can range from under 100 in small markets to over 1,000 in major cities and specialized fields. The overall average of lawyers statewide in Florida is $350 per hour, and the range statewide in Florida is $215 an hour. That's low end. I don't know why it says medical malpractice. That was a typo. Low end for $215 an hour, and to $690 for the high end stuff. Oops, I missed one. As I pointed out, market demand will give us some statistics there too. Miami and Fort Lauderdale, for example, here in Florida, tend to have the demand there prompts higher rates than northern regions. And then the experience of attorneys is always going to affect, as I pointed out earlier, but for example, in Florida, senior partners in Florida often bill closer to the 400 to 600 range, and junior associates may be closer to 200 to 300. I also looked into the typical hourly rate of attorneys, next slide I'm going to do paralegals, of attorneys in the Bradenton and Sarasota area, the area I chose because that's where I teach and where I live. We have service types like court appearances, which are billed hourly, and the most effective cost driver of how they determine the fees is they're going to be doing travel and waiting time. So those are inconveniences, but there's waiting time in the court for like the cattle calls and that sort of thing. So that's around $300 to $450 per hour. Legal research is an hourly type of billing, and it is a time-intensive task at $200 to $350 per hour, depending on the type of matter being researched, the newness of it, the novelty that is. And document drafting is typically hourly or flat. And what will change whether it's hourly versus flat is the complexity of the document. When we talked about flat fees earlier, that's kind of clear. Some things are just going to turn out a certain way, most likely. It's predictable. So where we're dealing with that, $250 to $400 for an attorney per hour, or somewhere between $500 and $1,500 for a flat fee. Telephone calls, these are billed hourly in increments, and we're going to go through those increments in one of these sections in a little bit. But there's communication time that affects that, and then it's lower, much lower at $30 to $100 per call. And the Bradenton Sarasota paralegal structures are looking like the court support, where paralegals are assisting attorneys either in court or with the filing and the preparation task. That's billed typically on an hourly basis at $100 to $150 per hour. Legal research also is hourly, and it's a delegated work. It's supervised. It's around $90 to $150 per hour. Document drafting, same as if attorneys, we could have hourly or flat. When things are routine, it's like $150 to $500 flat fee when a paralegal does the work, and the paralegal, if hourly billing, would be around $100 to $150 per hour. Client communication, again, is hourly in increments. We're talking about phone calls, emails, updates, and then that rate is down to about $15 to $40 per item. So that would cover paralegals in Bradenton and Sarasota area. So important now to remember, fee agreement should be in writing, and now only a reasonable fee can be collected. And how do we determine that? From the time and labor required, and which is how much effort the lawyer reasonably spent in determining whether fees were reasonable. So we're looking past tense here, because it would be an evaluation of whether a reasonable fee was charged. The novelty and difficulty of the issues, the more complex matters, the more new they are, it may justify higher fees. The skills required is important. Specialized expertise can increase the fee. And what's customary locally, what other lawyers charge for similar services in your area, the amount involved and results obtained, the stakes and the success of the case will sway the determination of whether there was a reasonable fee. And the time limitations, how urgent was the matter? If it was really urgent and had very short fuse to get on it and work with it, or the litigation is moving very fast, then it might justify higher rates. Nature and length of the professional relationship with the, just put it this way, long-standing clients may receive different fee structures. And again, the experience and reputation and the ability of the lawyer, the more seasoned a lawyer is, the higher the fees. So this concludes part 1 of the time and billing lecture series. And thank you very much.